Greetings and welcome to this evening's stream. I am your host, Lilim Nightshade, and I am going to play Castlevania Rondo of Blood. I've made it to stage 6. However, it is sort of a double-edged sword. On one hand, the stage is just a boss fight, so there's no need to replay the stage every time I fail and game over. I can go straight to the boss fight. The unfortunate thing is the boss fight is a bit of a gauntlet, where I have to fight essentially 5 bosses in a row. 4 bosses from the first Castlevania game, followed by the real boss at the end. So it is a bit of a struggle to survive through all of that. So I do not know how long it will take. I would have preferred being that last week, as it would have been nice to tack that real short stage onto stage 5's progress, since I was just at the end of that one as well. However, that was not to be. I doubt I'm going to beat stage 7 even if I do beat stage 6 tonight, just because I had to learn the stage and the boss as well. But we will see how far I can get. We are nearing the end at any rate. I appreciate that. I actually did check something, because my controls are not entirely set correctly, I believe. I see. Never hit that button. Fair enough.
Vor langer Zeit lebten
One of the main things I need to do to make this more survivable is find out a way to fight the initial bosses with as few weapon uses as possible. So if I can conserve my uses of the book, I can potentially save it for the real boss. I do think I need to use it in the floating eye, though. Or not floating eye, the bat, that I mean. Just because the bat's flying, it would be very difficult to hit. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do this. That mess up like that. This is a very bad run. I've already failed this. Let me test the item clash. Or not. I guess you cannot do that in the air. It's a very horrible first attempt. I have to figure out how to get that book to hit more times. Because it's less worth it if it only hits once. I had to hit at least 2 if not 3 times to do optimal damage. I do believe I can beat the Medusa with just the whip, potentially. But when someone else played it, they were able to jump from this platform and hit the bat to just begin with. Okay, that does work. Okay, one book use is good. Took too many hits to the bubbles. That's a problem. So I may still fail it just because I was too conservative there, I believe. And that was unfortunate. Indeed. That was not fast enough. I believe what happened was that I was a bit surprised that I had defeated the enemy, so I delayed a bit too long for my first jump, and then I did not have enough time to complete the rest of them. Sometimes it is difficult to react to things in time. I tend to think and process them, and then by the time I finish processing them, it is too late to act. Either way, I do need to do better on Medusa. Even maybe using a book to shield against the bubbles at one point. Whatever the case, what I did was not good enough. I was poor as well. I shouldn't be taking hits here. Just not patient enough. I might as well just debuff this run as well. That should be a game over, I believe. No, I have one more chance. As I said before, it is fortunate that there's no stage here, so I don't have to redo the stage to get to this point. 'Cause that would be extremely annoying if I did, since I will game over several times doing this. Gives focus on the bosses. I suddenly had to delay my first jump because he's invincible for a while. So I had to wait till he stops splashing and then I can jump and whip the first attack. I timed that wrong. Really hurts. In the video I watched, they were a lot more aggressive and able to jump on the platforms and then get the jumping attack on the bat. But the problem is if you go up on a platform, you're likely to get hit by a fireball. So it's difficult to do that. I feel like even though the person who did it in the video did not do this, I feel like it might be best just to keep waiting until he does the drill attack and hit him then, rather than try to fight him while he's flying. No, for some reason they never attacked when the drill, they just dodged it. And they only attacked while he was flying around. Which to me seems a bit backwards to what you want to do, since the easiest hit to make is when he's on the ground. And you can get usually like 2 hits in. At least that is my observation thus far. Perhaps he's had the pattern down better and knew when to get up here when he was not going to shoot a fireball. Did not help. Yeah, if I miss that fireball, and there's nothing I can do at that point. That'd be really perfect on the timing. But basically, it's just about to hit you when you whip it. But now I probably do not have enough health to survive the rest. Like this part alone will probably get me. I do not get under that. I tried running forward and I still got hit by the jumping attack, which sort of just threw me off. This whole boss rush can be beaten without any sub-weapons if you understand it well enough. And I have no interest in trying that. Well, I do when I minimize my use so I still have enough left over at the end. I feel it is wise to still use them when they are necessary. Missed the first attack. Surprisingly, shot 1 fireball that time. Should I finish him off with the book? Fortunately, that one was from a little too close range that I had not much opportunity to jump or to dodge it. Well, a mistake. I delayed for too long there. I keep debating whether or not I want to actually burn the book usage for protection from the bandages. Because you do not need to use it. You can destroy them all with a whip, but you have to really understand the pattern very well and the tying on it. And I'm not very good at that. Of course, I did not do so well that time. Uh, I really need to get better at surviving without relying on the sub-weapons. I really want the item crashes at the end. Since the real boss teleports around a lot, I think my best bet is to use the item crash on them when I have a chance. There, I did that bookless. That one I did not, but I felt it was for the best. To stop the bubbles from hitting me. Let's see what I'd do to deal with this one. I may still abuse the book on this one, because I have not yet figured out how to do it without the book. And this one I have the least experience with. Let's see what I'm crashes do to this guy. Not much. Ugh. Even with all those book usages left, I could not do it. I probably just used them wrong. And the item crash was definitely a mistake. It did almost no damage to him. So I would have been better off saving my item usage for the regular. Since I did not compare how many uses the crash took versus the regular, but it had to be more. You would think for taking that much more uses of it, that it would do more damage. Is this the hardest boss so far in your opinion? If we were just talking about the boss himself, then no. The difficult part is the fact that you are worn down by 4 other bosses before you fight the real boss. And I didn't go into that. I've never gone into that full health. I mean, that may not be a fair comparison once again to 5 bosses in a row. That's inherently going to be more difficult than not having 5 bosses in a row. Zuria. Bad run. Just out of position. Let me test something. Okay, that takes about 3. What does this take? 10? Fair enough. Because I'm gonna die anyway, I figured I would compare the two. See, I pretty much verified that I do not ever want to use the item crash in this particular fight. So instead we would just use regular book on the final fight of this gauntlet. Cause I should have enough of them. I ran out. And I'm sure it's because of that crash at the beginning. And I do need books to protect me from some of his attacks. Well, need is a strong word, but they would help me in that regard. So I think the strategy is to use notebooks on the bat. Then to use one on Medusa when the bubbles are about to shoot out to protect me from those. Not essential, but it's helpful. And then use, I think, 2 on the mummy. And then ideally none on Frankenstein monster, but that is a tall order just because if I get put into a corner like I usually am, it becomes harder to dodge his attacks. So I may just have to use book on him just so I don't take unnecessary damage. But we shall see. Let me first get to the first part of the challenge, which is redefeating the bat without taking or without using any book uses. Already bad. Okay. Fortunately, I only got 1 hit on him that time. I never know which way he's gonna come up exactly, so sometimes I get hit when the drill comes up. Which is probably why the person I was watching just dodged out, right? And didn't try to get extra hits in. That feels to my benefit to do it this way. Okay, that worked well enough. Still in decent shape right now. Was not expecting that. Let me try to get closer to the center here. And start. And this is definitely not going to work out. He takes so many more hits than I expect him to take. I wish I got the healing after that fight instead of after the mummy fight. It's far too early. Not sure what to do about those. Suppose I should have tried seeing if the whip could just dispel the fire. But I usually don't trust that against projectiles of that size. I know the whip can handle more projectiles. But those are not normal projectiles. Wait, what? What's going on? And I'm prepared for this. He's never done this before. I thought I was going to have the gauntlet again. If I knew it was going to start with him, I would have been more prepared for that fight. I doubt it was that. It may be that I got to him and that just cleared the rest of the bosses. Like, I think every other time I reached him, it was on my last life. So I just got a game over. I never re-entered the room after beating the other 4 bosses. So that's my best guess. I have one more chance before I have to restart all this over again. So now it's kind of erased what I said about, oh, well, there's no stage, so everything starts from the beginning of the fight anyway, so it does not matter if I game over. But if there is a sort of a stage, how going through those 4, and you can restart from the beginning of his fight, that changes that whole dynamic to where now, once again, game overs matter. Well, we'll test that theory. We'll see if he still fight him. Okay, he's narrowing down, so yes. Be very careful. So now I have to learn his pattern. Okay, that does repel those. That was in between them. Fortunately, the book does not repel the other orbs. I have no idea how to deal with that attack, because the book does not do anything to those orbs. They just go right through it. Which is a problem. If I could have just avoided that attack, I might have been able to kill him with how much life he had left. But now we also know that I need to get to him in one try. Conserving the book on this first run is no longer an issue. We now just need to make it through all the 4 monsters. Not what I want to do. Seems to be homing. Oh, I keep forgetting that he takes so many more hits. He had no health left, but he still could take a ton of hits. Restarting. I cannot lose on the first attempt. Thighs. I cannot afford to lose it all. And I should have gotten to him there, but see, there's two problems with that. One, I forgot that he had more health than it looked like because he doesn't take any damage from anything. But the second problem is I tried to use my sub-weapon there again, and it didn't come out, so I thought I was out of it, so I just started trying to use the whip in desperation to finish him off. And then I looked back, I saw I still had 10 uses somehow. So I have no idea what happened there. But the game decided to rob me of having the sub-weapon use there. I didn't use a sub-weapon that time. In the case of everything going wrong, I might have to restart again. I'm not even sure if that first hit off of the platform is worth it, because it keeps putting you out of position and then I get hit by the fireball. Fortunately, I think I did the book too early that time, so that bubble did not get broken. Supposed to be at full health for this. Okay, at least we got to the checkpoint. Presumably. Luckily that one rock did not fall on me because that would have been annoying. It wouldn't have killed me, but still would have been annoying. Okay, I'm supposed to whip them, but it just kind of sends them back. It does not destroy them. Suppose I'm supposed to jump over those? The thing about that attack is that they shoot so fast that you have no idea where they're going to be, so it's really hard to dodge it because no matter where I go, they could just decide that they're going to shoot the lightning down in my path. I haven't figured out a way to anticipate it. They flash a bit before they go off. Right, but the character moves so slow that that flash is not enough time to do anything. If I see the flash and try to press a button, he still gets hit unless he's already not in position. And that could just be our reaction time. As we've said many times, our reaction speed is very, very slow. So we probably cannot process the flash fast enough. That's my best guess. 'Cause it does not feel like we can move even a fraction of an inch before the lightning strikes. If they overlap and shoot down, you're supposed to not be under them. That's pretty much all there is to it. Just don't be anywhere near where they are. They do, actually, which is why this is a bit difficult. That did not work the way I wanted it to. Yeah, that was in between them there. But it did not matter. And now I have 2 more attempts. I just wonder if there's a better weapon for fighting him than the books. Because even though the books can sort of keep some attacks at bay, it never destroys anything. Like, the best case scenario is that you delay the fireballs a little bit. What else do we have here? Holy water. I doubt that would work. He moves around too much. What about the cross? I'm gonna try the cross on him. Book is essential for the first few ones, but it may not be necessary for him. And for some reason his name is Shaft. These kits should count. Okay, I was right. The cross was definitely better. I wasn't sure if something was gonna attack me and surprise there. There have been boss fights where even after you kill the boss, something else hits you and can game over you. So being very cautious there. But yeah, switching to the cross was definitely the move to make. I'm glad I thought of that last second, because I realized that if I can start with just him and don't have to do the gauntlet, why am I using the book? The book is not very helpful against him. And it consumes more uses per stock. Like, I think it consumes 3 of your hearts for every use. Whereas a cross, I believe, is just a 1-to-1, and it can do multiple hits still because of the fact that it goes through and back again. And seems to be better against the fireballs even, because it just continuously knocked them back and the fireball never touched me. And you're right, we now have a new stage. I'm not taking that. The cross is a very good weapon, I'm gonna keep that. As long as I can. One of these, never mind. Didn't he have a stage just like this in the first Castlevania? This seems familiar. Except I don't remember all these enemies here. And this is tough. Having to fight them while the bridge is collapsing is very difficult. I lost my good weapon, unfortunately. Could take multiple hits. There. This might be the worst stage yet. How do I deal with the enemies and the collapsing stage at the same time? That is useless. I'm hoping that her mobility will help me out here. Perhaps not. I should be double jumping more. Sometimes double jump does not work. She is definitely the best for that segment, though. I knew that was going to be the case. Why do they keep trying to stick me with that weapon? This is the stage that tests your platforming skills the most. Just waiting for the Medusa heads to come and kill me. You know that's gonna happen eventually. Did not expect them to retreat backwards like that. Now the key for that cell. Not sure where you get that. That's marginally more useful than the cat. See, Marie doesn't have to play the clock tower game. Well, I don't know what happened there. Probably was jumping the wrong spot. I think that's what happened to me. That should have worked. But Chet doesn't have that much range. Good. This is gonna be a problem. She's the only character with the maneuverability to get past this stage at my current skill level, but she cannot take enough hits for me to survive in this stage, and there's too much going on. I wonder what the boss at the end of this stage is going to be, because this is not the last stage, so we can't fight Dracula yet. This may end up being a short stream. I doubt I have that many more attempts of this in me. Fortunately, I'm not playing the Super Nintendo version, because in that game, Dracula is near impossible. I'm pretty sure the Dracula X Dracula fight is the hardest Dracula fight in the entirety of the series. And the reason for that is because there's no floor in the boss room. There are just a few pillars to stand on, so you have to do the usual Dracula fight with him teleporting around and attacking you. But you have to keep platforming yourself and be careful not to fall. If you take a hit, you're probably going to get knocked off the pillar and fall your death. So it becomes one of those battles where you're not allowed to take a single hit. Didn't realize she was so low. I've never seen these skull heads before that are floating around. I'm used to Medusa heads, which did eventually get me later on. The feeling I missed a weapon. That might be later that I missed it. Nothing was in this room. Okay, it is. Let's try to do this correctly. There we go. That is what I attempted to do last time when I got killed. Ominous. We'll walk down the stairs properly. Okay, see, now I see where the cat could be handy. Ironically. These, I could just drop it down there, and I think it would, if I do it correctly, just go and attack them while I'm not even here. To wait for the right opening. The music don't even do anything. What did I get? Oh, now I don't want the cat. Watch me regret that, though. Yep, I instantly regret it. It's hard to tell if that's doing damage to him. He flashes my hand with this, so I feel like the music notes he's immune to. Then makes me wonder if the cat would have hurt him or not. I'd rather not go and fight another one of those guys. What's over here? Nothing. So then I have a choice. That is why I did not want to fight him. Very well. Now I need to get that cat somehow. I think the music notes the least back at the skeleton thing down there. It does work. Because there's a reason why they gave that to me. I do not know if I want that swap, but I'm certainly gonna find out. This is usually a better weapon, but that cat was very useful for those guys. But it's okay as long as he's not immune. Assuming they kept me across here anyway. Okay, he is immune to that. That is a problem. Perhaps I should get on those. And I gotta ride those at some points in, I believe I do. No, that's back to the previous area. I'm out the wrong way. Can she make this jump? Okay, she can. Good to know. I assume it's the next jump she can't, though. Those actually work better than they did in Dawn of Sorrow. They were extremely difficult to get onto. Is this the end? Interesting. Short stage. I'm gonna, use the bird. Go. I feel like that's my best option just because the dragon takes too many hearts. It is very situational. I feel like anything that her normal attack can hit, these extra birds will also hit. I have to find the hidden item. Really? I was hoping for some hidden food somewhere. Most stages have that. Sometimes it's a hidden weapon, but mostly it's restorative. But I do not want to have to watch the demo to find out where the hidden item is. Or it's just like the one stage that does not have a hidden item. And it does not help much, but it is better than going in with less health because now I get to see the boss's pattern for a little bit longer before I die. So, what are we up against? Probably the person who was locked in a cell, huh? That would make the most sense. Or... are we fighting him again? Well, that is a problem. I am fairly certain that I cannot defeat him with Maria because she is so weak. But I can't get here with Richter because he can't do that first part of the stage. That mobile enough. So I'm uncertain how to proceed. Miss Sunday, game over. I guess you had to jump that. The deaths are like the death size, which makes this even harder. There's far too much going on and I barely did any damage to him. And with my luck, I still do not have enough money to see the demo of that. Death with the skull next to him, apparently, to indicate that he is now dead, is the ghost of Shaft. How did I gain no money? I had bags that I collected in that stage. It still does not count me as having anything. Does it not count if you die? Anything you've collected? Which I feel it's a bad system because that means if I didn't have enough for stage 6, then there's no way I could ever have enough for stage 7 because you get no money in stage 6 by any means. But I feel like 275 is what I had before. I can't even watch this to find out how you're supposed to do it. That is probably my main grievance with this game is they give you a little demo thing to show you how to fight the bosses, but they tie it to money, a collectible resource, a limited resource that you collect in the stages, and do not give you anywhere near enough. Because I had viewed, let's see, 3, I think. Yeah, all these bosses I've only viewed 3 times, and I still have no more money to view anything else. So even though I save my money by not viewing this one, that one, or that one, it does not matter. I still cannot afford anything with how little money that the game has given me out. So was I just never supposed to use the viewer? Like, they must only give you enough to view 2 or 3 bosses in the entire game. how do you form? That is the issue. There's no way to farm for money. It's a finite resource. Because either the candle has money in it or the candle does not have money on it. Play an easy stage over and over again. I suppose, but it sounds like you have to still be able to beat the boss, which can be a little challenging if you are not freshly in the rhythm, because you basically beat the boss in one try. So if you don't remember that fight, then you may flub against it and end up getting a game over and not getting any money. And I'm also not sure what stages even have money in them. Like, I could probably do the Wyvern one, but does stage 1 have any money? It may not. So I may not get anything out of it. I know when I've tried stage 2 again to unlock Maria, I had to refight the werewolf, but the problem there was I could not even beat the werewolf anymore. I failed several times to do it because I had forgotten how that fight went. And some of these bosses, I do not even remember them. Like, I feel like this one I beat in one continue. And I think I went straight from beating the werewolf, if I'm not mistaken, and then I went to either this 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. In one of the cases, this is a view that where I'm gonna assume it was the Minotaur. But I think I beat the werewolf. And then I went from stage 3 entirely without dying, and I managed to beat the Minotaur without getting a game over. So I assume that was an easy one, but I do not remember the fight at all. So I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do that again. Either way, that doesn't feel like it's an exciting thing to stream, me replaying old stages and only to fail them. So I think I'm going to have to stop for the night and either try to get the money to do the viewer or just look up online how someone else did the battle, which is probably more practical because that's free. And give it another try next week. Yeah, I was hoping that I could, at the very least, get the stage 6 done as it was just a boss fight, and I was able to do that at the very least. And I knew it was not going to be stage 7 entirely. Though the stages were shorter than I expected it to be, so it was just annoying, but it was very short. But it's going to be interesting seeing how I'm going to get past that, because it's one of two methods. Either I figure out how to get better at that fight with Maria, which seems unlikely, because unlike Death, where she was perfect for that fight, she seems very ill-suited for this one. But the alternative means I need to somehow get to the boss as Richter, which, as you saw, I couldn't even beat the first area as Richter. It seems like there's just too much madness going on for that to work. Maybe I need to grab that axe they gave me and just start spanning axes as I run. But I'll have to figure that out. I might have to test some things off stream to see if I can make it that far. But my second try was with full health. So that is basically the only reason why I did better. There were more hits to take slightly. But even though I did better, technically, if you saw the health of the boss, I had barely taken off anything. I think I went through a quarter of his life, so it wasn't even close. Which doesn't really give me any confidence that I'm close to solving the problem. Now, if I had maybe only a quarter of his health left, then it's obvious that if I just keep trying, eventually I'll do a little bit better and get there. But I need a whole new strategy for how far away I am from it. But at any rate, that is going to be tonight's stream. I will be back streaming next Thursday. And let me just raid a random streamer before I leave. And of course, Cersei will be streaming on Saturday, so be sure to stop by for that.